Oh, boys and girls, I don't know how many of you will react to this, but I'm dating my son's friend and I'm 40 years old. This is an incredible story. Listen, my name is Elena. I'm 40 years old. Yes, I'm a grown woman, but I feel 18. I'm very attractive. 168 centimeter tall and 59 kilo. I have long, wavy blonde hair. Men often notice me, even just on the street. I live in a two-bedroom apartment with my son, Mark, who is a third-year student at a technical university. His father and I separated when Mark was 5, and since then I've raised him alone. Although I was often asked to marry again, I decided I wouldn't tie the knot until my son could earn his own living. I dated, but for the last 6 months, I hadn't met anyone worthy, mostly sitting on dating apps where the selection was often disappointing. The unexpected meeting. Recently, an event occurred that turned my world upside down. I knew my son had a friend, but we hadn't met. One day, Mark invited his friend over and introduced us. This is my mom, Elena. His friend Alex was a tall, athletic guy, about 15 years younger than me, very handsome. Mark asked if Alex could stay the night so they could study for an exam more easily. I agreed, and after dinner, we went to our separate rooms. That night, I decided to take a shower to relax. Our toilet and shower are combined. Thinking everyone was asleep, I undressed calmly and stepped under the warm spray. I had various thoughts, and my imagination was running wild. Suddenly, I heard the door open. I cried out in surprise, seeing Alex standing in the doorway. Can you imagine what I felt at that moment? "What are you doing here?" I asked, trying to cover myself with the curtain. He replied in a husky voice, "You are so beautiful, like a goddess rising from the water." He then said he urgently needed to use the toilet. Then, unexpectedly, he offered to wash my back. Can you believe it? Something stirred inside me, and I handed him the loofah, turning my back. Just a couple of minutes ago, I was actually imagining him with me in the shower. He began gently scrubbing my back, whispering that I was very sexual. Then he stroked my back with his hands and kissed my neck. I turned around and kissed him back. We spent about an hour together in the bathroom, enjoying each other. He kissed and caressed me everywhere. I had never experienced anything like it. I was so happy, yet anxious. I asked him to keep it a secret. And of course, he agreed. A secret relationship. 2 months passed and I hadn't seen him, although he and my son remained friends, meaning he hadn't told anyone. One day, while I was washing dishes, the doorbell rang. Mark was at class. It was Alex. He came to talk and confessed he couldn't forget that night. And I couldn't either. I constantly thought about him. He hugged me tightly and started kissing me, then picked me up, and we went into my bedroom. Our time together was unforgettable. Now, I can't say if it was the right decision, but I know one thing. I love him, even though he is much younger. Well, doesn't it happen where the woman is older than the man? After that night, we began meeting secretly. Our dates were rare and carefully planned, hidden from my son, his friends, and the neighbors. We understood that this situation could hurt my son and ruin his friendship with Alex, but the strength of our feelings was so great that we couldn't give each other up. We met in the most unexpected places. Sometimes I would go out for a few hours under the pretense of meeting friends or going shopping. Alex would wait for me in the parking lot of the nearest supermarket or in a park. We would get into his car and drive to quiet corners of the city where we could spend time alone. Other times, he would come to my apartment when Mark was at class or practice. Our meetings were always full of passion and tenderness that we tried to hide from prying eyes. Once, we rented a small country house for a whole weekend, enjoying each other's company. He grilled kebabs and, well, you understand what I mean. This place became our sanctuary where we could relax and be ourselves. We walked in the forest, cooked together, and simply talked about life, dreams, and future plans, the confrontation and acceptance. Despite all the precautions, avoiding suspicion was impossible. Mark started noticing changes in my behavior. He began asking questions about where I was going so often and who I was meeting. I tried to evade the answers, but felt that the truth was about to come out. One evening, when I returned home after another meeting with Alex, Mark was sitting in the kitchen with a grim expression. He said we needed to talk. My heart started racing, and I knew the moment had arrived. "Mom," he began, "I've noticed you've been acting strangely for a long time. You leave often and don't say where you're going. What's going on? Do you have a boyfriend? Then introduce us." I sighed and sat down across from him. "Son, I understand that this is difficult for you, and you have the right to know, but you must promise to listen to me until the end." He nodded, and I began my story. I explained that Alex and I had spent time together that night, the feelings that arose between us, and how we began dating secretly. I told him how hard I tried to keep it a secret to avoid hurting him. Mark listened to me silently, then stood up and left the room. I heard him lock himself in his room, and I knew he needed time to process what he had heard. I didn't want their friendship to end, but I agreed. It's probably unpleasant when your friend dates your mother. Days passed. Mark hardly spoke to me, avoided meeting my eyes, and withdrew. I knew I had lost his trust, and it broke my heart. Alex also felt guilty and worried about our situation. We decided to stop meeting for a while to give Mark a chance to recover. A new family one evening, I heard Mark come into my room. He sat on the edge of the bed and quietly said, "Mom, I understand that you also have the right to happiness, but why Alex? He's my friend. It's wrong." I took his hand and replied, "I know it's hard to understand, but the heart doesn't choose. I never wanted to hurt you. Alex and I have decided to stop meeting so you can live peacefully." He sighed and looked at me. "Mom, I want you to be happy, but we all need time to process this and learn to live with it. Let's try to cope together." From that day on, we began working on rebuilding our trust. I tried to spend more time with Mark. Even though he's an adult, we often went out together. I supported him in his studies and personal life. Alex also tried to maintain his friendship with my son, although they started hanging out less often. With time, the situation began to change. Mark gradually accepted our relationship and understood that Alex was not only my partner, but also his friend, who never wanted to harm him. We started communicating more, spending time together, and finding new common ground. Our secret meetings with Alex continued, but less frequently. We became more attentive and careful not to cause Mark unnecessary pain or destroy his trust. Despite all the difficulties, our feelings only grew stronger. The turning point one summer, we decided to take a short vacation to the seaside. I suggested that Mark come with us so we could all mend our relationships together. Mark agreed, though with some wariness. The time spent at the seaside became a turning point for us. We enjoyed the sunny days, swam in the warm sea, and walked along the picturesque streets of the small resort town. Mark gradually began to see that my relationship with Alex was genuine and full of love. One evening, as we sat on the shore watching the sunset, Mark approached me and said, "Mom, I see that you and Alex genuinely love each other. It was hard for me to accept. But now I understand that the main thing is your happiness. I'm glad you have someone like him by your side." I hugged him, and tears welled up in my eyes. They were tears of joy and relief. We finally managed to overcome all the difficulties and become a real family. "Dude," Mark said to Alex, "take care of Mom. God forbid anything happens to her, you know me." Since then, our life has become calmer and happier. We no longer hide or keep secrets, and Alex has become a part of our family. We plan for the future together and enjoy every moment spent with each other. Despite all the happiness this time has brought us, I never forget the difficulties we went through. They made us stronger and taught us to cherish every moment of life. We knew there were many more challenges ahead, but now we were ready to face them together, as a true family.